We have talked a lot about mass deportations on this channel because I believe it is one of the most heinous plans that the second Trump administration intends to carry out. But first, if you want to support independent progressive media, please do remember to hit that subscribe button. Excuse me. I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so I would very much appreciate your support. So Donald Trump made a whole bunch of different promises during his campaign, and one of the main ones that he and others were very fired up about was the idea of mass deportations. And while the idea overall of mass deportations polled well, when you break that down and start asking people more specific questions about who should be deported and who shouldn't be deported, that number goes way down. America is not interested in rounding up a whole bunch of people who are here, contributing to our economy, making our lives better, and shipping them off to their home country. America is just not down with that. But now you have the second Trump administration coming in, and they are now starting to threaten blue cities with withholding funding if they do not cooperate in the way that the Trump administration wants them to carry out these mass deportations. So let's go ahead and get a quick rundown of that really quick, and then we'll go from there.
But first, the Washington Post reporting Trump's administration is eyeing a, quote, funding showdown. Advisors reportedly plotting to, quote, unilaterally strip federal resources from Chicago and other Democratic-run cities if they refuse to participate in deportations, including withholding federal funds. Chicago's mayor is clapping back, telling the Washington Post, quote, there will not be any cooperation with ICE deportations, saying the city will challenge any threats to its funding.
This is just some un-American bullshit. We are all Americans, whether you live in a blue city or a rural red area. We are all Americans. We all pay taxes. And for Donald Trump to be threatening to withhold funding in this authoritarian type way, it's just un-American. We can all come together and solve these problems together, but because Donald Trump is a fascist wannabe, he wants to force people to carry these things out in the way that he wants them done. And so there should be pushback from these blue cities. Here we have Tom Homan also making the same threats of taking away funding from blue cities.
Federal funds should be slashed to that state, and I mean hugely so that people of that state understand that the governor is the responsible party, that the mayor's the responsible party. They can beat their chest to being sanctuary cities all they want.
And that's going to happen. I guarantee you President Trump will do that. President Trump has made it clear. We're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats right out of the gate.
The main problem with this mass deportation plan coming from the Trump administration is they have built this whole issue into a giant conspiracy that is not even close to resembling reality. They would want you to believe that there is millions upon millions upon millions of illegal immigrants here that are criminals that are wreaking havoc in cities all across the nation, and that those are the people that need to get out of the country. But that is not even close to what is actually going on. ICE is still going after criminals. We have a whole bunch of people in this country who are contributing to the economy, who have been here for 10 plus years, who have children, people who have been born here. And these are the types of people that are going to be rounded up in these mass deportations. All of these undocumented immigrants are not criminals, but the Trump administration wants you to believe that. The Trump administration is demonizing all of these immigrants like they are criminals, because when they come knocking down doors and ripping children away from their parents, they don't want to have that pushback. So we need to be here every single step of the way, giving them that pushback, because they are going to be violating people's rights. They are going to be stripping or ripping families apart. And it is going to be an absolute shit show. And just to give it some perspective, they're talking about taking funding away from these blue cities that might be sanctuary cities, But they also have a misunderstanding of what an actual sanctuary city is. Here's the Denver mayor trying to give the rundown of what it actually means to be a sanctuary city.
We're not changing how we run the city, but it's important that people know what that status means. What that means is that if someone has committed a violent crime, has committed a felony, we do collaborate with federal law enforcement, and we will. What it means we don't do is if someone is driving to work and has a busted taillight on the way, we don't arrest them and connect them to ICE for deportation. We think that's disruptive for families and for residents.
So just remember that as we move forward, because these blue cities that have designated themselves as sanctuary cities, they are still helping ICE if they are going after criminal undocumented immigrants, which is exactly what they should be doing. But if you have somebody who, like he said, has a broken taillight and he somehow gets pulled over and they figure out that he's undocumented, does it really make sense to tear that family apart? Because that is exactly what the Trump administration wants to do. And they are not only threatening to take away funding now, they are even upping their threats. Here's Tom Homan, so giddy about these mass deportations, saying that you better not hide these illegal immigrants from us. His words, not mine. Let's check it out.
Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation. We're not waiting till January. We're already talking. We're already planning. We're going to put a plan in place and secure this nation at the highest level it's ever seen. It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us.
I find it absolutely despicable that he seems so giddy to start carrying out these mass deportations. This is not what America signed up for. The Trump administration does not have a mandate to do whatever the hell they want when it comes to deportations. But that is the impression that they are operating under. They think that they've got carte blanche to go do whatever the hell they want. They can take away funding from blue cities. They can go knocking down doors. They can deploy the military to go after brown people. And it is all quite disgusting. They are even threatening mayors now with jail time if they somehow obstruct. If they aren't carrying out these mass deportations in the way that Trump administration wants you to carry them out, well, then you best be ready to get arrested. Here's Tom Homan saying that.
We agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute, it's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III, and what it says is, it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we don't want to help, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to save American lives.
Again, with that same type of rhetoric. Oh, we've got to go save American lives. There's a reason that we are still talking about Laken Riley, as tragic as that was. That was, 9 months ago? That happened 9 months ago or so? We do not have this epidemic of migrant crime like they are trying to make you believe. It is just not happening that way. We still have ICE being deployed, going after felons, going after other criminals. Many of these undocumented immigrants that have criminal records are locked up in our system already. But the Trump administration is trying to make you believe that all of these people are criminals, all of these people are wreaking havoc on American cities, and that is just not the case. The Trump administration and Trump himself have created an alternate reality bubble that these MAGA freaks live in. And they are trying to make the world conform to their reality bubble. And it is going to be a huge fight moving forward because we can't even agree on the same set of facts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Denver mayor responding to Tom Homan and saying, hey, if you're going to come into my city and you're going to start violating people's rights, then hell yeah, I will engage in civil disobedience. I think this is the exact right attitude to have, and hopefully we see more of this if these mass deportations begin to get carried out.
Would you be willing to participate in those as the mayor of Denver? Would you be willing to go out and protest these things?
I would. If I believe that our residents are having their rights violated, if I think things are happening that are illegal or immoral or un-American in our city, I would certainly protest it, and I would expect other residents would do the same.
Trump's new borders czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate with reasonable people how to solve hard problems.
This is in my opinion, the correct way to look at it. Do we really want to send our military into cities? Do we want to really have armored trucks rolling into neighborhoods, beating down doors and ripping children away from their parents? Do we want to take somebody's grandma and have her held in some detention camp before she gets sent back to Mexico, which she hasn't even been there for the last 15 years? Does any of that make sense? Or should we come together, blue cities, red governors, whatever it may be, and come up with some common sense solutions to solve this problem? Donald Trump has this huge infatuation with rounding up a whole bunch of brown people, sending them into detention camps, maybe holding them there for quite some time while they figure out how they're going to be deported back to another country. And it is grotesque. There are so many logistical challenges that we're going to have to face, and we need to be there every step of the way to push back against this idea of mass deportations. This is not what America signed up for. Of course, there is that contingent of society, the MAGA freaks that definitely want to round up as many brown people as they can, but that is not the majority of America. This is not what America signed up for. The Trump administration does not have a mandate to start knocking down doors and rounding up all these people. And we need to let people know. It is not okay for Trump and his acolytes to be threatening funding from blue cities. Let's not forget, blue cities are economic powerhouses. They are some of the biggest contributors to the tax base. So to threaten to withhold funding, it's just un-American. Donald Trump is only looking out for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is only looking out for his side. He wants to inflict pain on not only these undocumented immigrants, but on liberals as well. They want to own the libs. And they have, we've seen it time and time again. They want to be cruel for cruelty's sake. We just saw how giddy Tom Homan is to start rounding up these people. And it is disgusting. So we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to continue to talk about it. Like I said, I think this would be one of America's biggest stains if it ends up being carried out. And we need people out there. I think civil disobedience, large protests are going to be one of the best ways that we can fight back against this MAGA nonsense. We saw it in Donald Trump's first administration when they started doing family separation. There was an immediate backlash from the public at large, and we were able to get him to reverse that policy. So I think those are the types of things we're going to need to be looking to do as we move forward, and we will be keeping an eye on all of these threats coming from the incoming Trump administration. I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Like I said, I am a brand new creator trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would very much appreciate your support. If you want to see how these mass deportations could have devastating consequences for things like our economy, our housing market, and things like that, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.